Okay guys, last one here. So says we have an equation here and they weirdly give me this, which doesn't come into play until part D. But it says, first show that the derivative of this is equal to that. So I'll distribute this 2 through here. This is a pretty tough problem. So I'll do 2 times 2, and then this will be a y prime equals negative sine of y with another y prime. Need to get the y primes on the same side, so I'm going to bring this term over here. So I'll go sine of y, y prime minus 2y prime equals negative 2. And then I'll factor a y prime out. So I've got y prime times sine of y minus 2 equals negative 2. I divide and I get y prime equals negative 2 over sine of y minus 2. That's the exact same answer as here. They just flip the sign. So just multiply top and bottom by negative 1. So we're good there. Part B says there's a point P on the curve where the time tangent curve has a slope of 1. So I need the slope equation to equal 1. If this is going to equal 1, that means sine of y has to equal 0. Since we're between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, that happens when y is equal to 0. If y is equal to 0, I can go back to this original equation and plug a 0 in everywhere there used to be a y. So I get 2x equals cosine of 0 is 1, so 4, so x equals 2. So my point is the point 2 comma 0. And part C says, determine the concavity of the point. So we're going to take the second derivative. So we have that dy dx equals 2 over 2 minus sine of y. So I'm going to take the second derivative. So I'm going to do the derivative of the top, which is 0, times the bottom, minus the top, which is 2, times the derivative of the bottom, which will be negative cosine y dy dx, all over the bottom squared. So this is gone. Dy dx is equal to, so I got negative 2, so I'm going to make that positive cosine of y. Then dy dx is equal to 2 over 2 minus sine y over 2 minus sine y squared. So dividing by this is like multiplying by 1 over this. So I'm going to simplify this. So I've got the 2 and the 2, which give me a 4. Cosine of y over 2 minus sine of y cubed. Okay, and we are between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So cosine is always positive there. Sine can only be as big as 1, so we know that this bottom has to be positive because 2 is bigger than 1. So we get that this quantity is positive, which means that the curve is concave up in that section. Okay, so last one. I honestly wouldn't have got this if I didn't look at the key. So back on this previous one, they told me that, give me 1 sec. They told me this. They told me that 2/3 is less than or equal to dy dx is less than or equal to 2. I can't imagine a lot of people are going to get this since I don't think I would have. Mean value theorem says there's some place on the curve where instantaneous slope equals average slope. And the way I would calculate the average slope so I'm going to replace dy dx with that. So I've got 2/3 is less than or equal to and dividing by 0.1 is like multiplying by 10. So to solve for this, I'm going to multiply by 0.1 or divide by 10. So I get 2/30. And dividing by 10 would make this 1/5. 2/30 is 1/15, so I have that right there. Again, I honestly don't think I would have gotten that, maybe given enough time, but if you didn't get it, I wouldn't worry about it. Just try to keep in mind, these ones are really tough, this 4 through 6, so if you're not getting all the points, just try to figure out which points you can get. Try not to stress yourself out. There are bigger things going on in the world. All right, love you guys. Talk to you soon.